My name is Elias Grant. I am 75 years old. And for the last 45 of those years, I've lived a lie. My son-in-law Marcus is pushing me through Midway Airport in a wheelchair I absolutely do not need, just for safety. Dad, he says, his voice slick and smooth. My daughter Sophia. His wife walks beside us, her eyes glued to her phone, those long, perfect nails that I paid for tap-tap-tapping on the glass. They think they're giving me a surprise retirement trip. They think I'm just a tired old man, a retired mechanic from the West End with a small pension and a paid-off house. They think I'm weak. They think I'm a burden they finally get to manage. Before I tell you what happened next, what that brave flight attendant whispered in my ear, let me know in the comments where you are watching this story from. And please hit that like and subscribe button if you've ever had to deal with family who thought you were a fool. We get to the gate. Marcus wheels me onto the jet bridge. It's a one-way ticket to Nevada. They didn't ask me if I wanted to go. They just packed my bags and told me this morning. It's all taken care of. Sophia had chirped, not even looking up. At the plane door, a young flight attendant named Maya leans down, pretending to check my seatbelt. Marcus is just ahead, shoving a carry-on into the overhead bin, his back to us. Maya's face is pale. She looks terrified. She leans in close, her breath warm against my ear, and whispers so fast I almost think I dreamed it. Pretend you're sick. Get off this plane. Run. I freeze. My blood turns to ice. Marcus turns around, smiling that fake wide smile. Everything okay here? Maya stands up straight, her voice shaking only slightly. Yes, sir. Just making sure your father is comfortable. As Marcus fusses with his coat, she leans back down, offering me a cup of water I didn't ask for. Her hand is trembling. Please, she whispers again, her eyes begging me. I beg you. I heard them talking at the gate. It's a one-way trip. They said they're not letting you come back. My mind clears. The confusion is gone. 45 years of pretending, of observing, of staying silent. It all comes down to this single moment. As Marcus finally turns to find his own seat, I grab my chest. I let out a gasp that sounds real even to me. I can't breathe. I force out my voice, a broken rattle. My heart, Sophia screams. Marcus curses his mask of the caring son-in-law, instantly shattering into raw anger. 45 minutes later, I'm in the airport's medical station, paramedics hovering over me. And my daughter and son-in-law are on the other side of a security door, furious, screaming at an agent that they've missed their flight. I am safe for now. I'm on a cot in the airport medical station. The paper sheet crackles every time I breathe. A young paramedic is checking my blood pressure for the third time. Your vitals are stable, Mr. Grant. A little high, but there's no sign of a cardiac event. You're lucky. I hear pounding on the metal door. He is my father. He is confused. You have to let us in. That's Sophia, my daughter. Her voice isn't filled with worry. It's filled with pure, unfiltered anger. A deep voice rumbles back from the other side. Ma'am, he needs to be evaluated in peace. Your flight has already been rebooked. Please wait in the main terminal. I keep my eyes closed, letting my breathing stay shallow. I am playing the part of a frail, confused old man, the part they wrote for me. I need to call someone, I whisper to the paramedic. My son. The paramedic looks at me with pity. He sees exactly what they want him to see. An old man confused, being hassled by his frantic family. He hands me his personal cell phone. Of course, take your time. We'll keep them out. I nod weakly. My hands tremble as I take the phone, but it's not from fear. It's from adrenaline. I don't dial Sophia. I don't dial 911. I dial a number I know better than my own name. 1-2. He picks up. Right. His voice is sharp, precise. Adrian. I whisper, my voice cracking just enough. It's me. Activate the rainy day protocol. There is no pause, no questions. Understood, Mr. Grant. The car is 15 minutes out. Your exit is the South Utility Corridor. I am moving on the accounts now. I hang up. I hand the phone back to the paramedic. Thank you. He didn't pick up. The paramedic pats my shoulder. It's all right. You just rest. I close my eyes. The game is on. A different nurse wheels me out 25 minutes later. We're taking him for a quick x-ray just to be safe. She lies smoothly to the security guard. We don't go to x-ray. We go down a concrete service hallway past laundry bins and staff break rooms. We exit through a steel door marked authorized personnel only. The Denver air is cold. A shock after the stuffy airport. A black sedan, polished but unremarkable idles at the curb. No logos, no limousine flash, just quiet efficiency. The driver steps out and opens the back door. Mr. Grant, we've been expecting you. I stand up from the wheelchair. My back, which I had kept hunched in a pathetic 75-year-old curve, straightens. I am 75, but I am not frail. The driver doesn't blink. He takes the empty wheelchair from the nurse and folds it. The paramedics were compensated for their discretion, he says quietly. I nod and get in the car. We pull away from the curb just as I see Marcus and Sophia burst through the main terminal doors, looking around frantically. They don't even glance at this simple black car. Why would they? Their poor old dad couldn't possibly afford a private driver. The car does not head south. It does not head toward my little brick bungalow in the Oak Ridge neighborhood. It does not go to the home I've lived in for 45 years, the one they were so eager to sell, the one they thought was my only asset. We drive north along the lake. We pull into the private, heavily secured underground garage of Lakefront Tower. We take the private elevator. The doors open not into a lobby, but directly into the penthouse. The entire skyline of Denver spreads out before me through 35 feet of floor-to-ceiling glass. And standing there silhouetted against Lake Erie is Adrian Black. He is in an impeccably tailored suit, a stark contrast to my worn travel clothes. Mr. Grant, he says with a slight bow, I am relieved to see you are unharmed. The rainy day protocol is active. Thank you, Adrian, I say. I pull the cheap, scratchy tie from my neck, the one Sophia bought me for Christmas. They got sloppy. They got greedy. Adrian just nods. They always do, sir. I walk to the window. Down below, the city moves unaware. My daughter Sophia, she thinks I'm a fool. She thinks I'm the simple mechanic who spent his life covered in grease. A man who got lucky with a paid-off house. She doesn't know who I am. She doesn't know who her mother, my Lydia, was. Lydia and I, we saw what new money did to our families back in Oregon. We saw it tear brothers apart. We saw it poison everything it touched. So when I bought my first commercial property in 1988, a rundown garage in the downtown district that no one wanted, we made a pact. We would live simply. We would raise Sophia to value hard work, not handouts. We stayed in the West End bungalow. I kept the mechanic's overalls. Lydia kept her nurse's uniform. It was the best camouflage in the world. We taught our daughter that dignity came from labor, not from leisure. I thought I was protecting her. I see now I was just hiding the target. I was so busy teaching her the value of $1, I forgot to teach her the danger of loving them too much. Adrian interrupts my thoughts. He's holding a tablet. Sir, the preliminary financials you asked for. I turn from the window. How bad is the damage? Did they find the real accounts? Adrian shakes his head. They haven't touched the real accounts, sir. They don't even know they exist. They were fighting over scraps. As of this morning, your total net worth, liquid and assets combined, is $38 million. I let the number settle in the air. $38 million. And they tried to bury me in a Nevada nursing home for a one-way ticket in a paid-off house. Adrian, I say, my voice cold and clear, they were panicked. It wasn't just about the house. I want to know why they were in such a hurry. Find out what they're running from. Adrian didn't need to check. He simply tapped his tablet, and a document appeared on the massive screen disguised as a mirror on the penthouse wall. You were right. They weren't just taking you on a surprise trip. They had a destination. He pointed to the screen. You were right. They weren't just taking you on a surprise trip. They had a destination. I stared at the picture. It looked like a 5-star resort. A nursing home, I said. The word felt like ash in my mouth. No, Mr. Grant. It's worse, Adrian said. He zoomed in on the fine print at the bottom of the web page. Golden Horizons is not a licensed medical facility. It is a private asset management trust that provides residential living. I frowned. Speak English, Adrian. It's a scam. A very sophisticated, very legal scam. My team has been digging for the last 4 hours. The founder is a disbarred attorney from California. He found a loophole in Nevada's elderly care laws. This facility doesn't take medical insurance. It only takes asset buy-ins. My blood ran cold. Asset buy-ins. A family member, usually one with a fraudulent power of attorney, commits their elderly relative. Upon admission, the facility's legal team immediately begins a rapid asset liquidation to pay for their long-term care. They sell their house, their stocks, their possessions, all of course for an exorbitant fee. They drain the estate dry in a matter of months. Adrian swiped the screen. A new page appeared. A list of lawsuits. We found 15 cases in the last 4 years alone, he said. All 15 were settled out of court, all with gag orders. The families who tried to get their parents back claimed the residents were over-medicated, confused, and coerced into signing new wills that named the facility's holding company as a beneficiary. By the time the families fought their way in, the money was gone. The patients were often gone too, declared dead of natural causes within the first 2 years. I finally understood the wheelchair, the one-way ticket, the insistence that I was confused. They weren't just trying to put me in a home, they were trying to erase me. They were sending me to a place designed to liquidate me body and soul. They needed you, declared mentally incompetent, Adrian said, as if reading my mind. But they were getting impatient. The POA they forged wasn't strong enough to give them total control, so they needed to get you physically into the facility's custody. Once you were inside their doctors, their lawyers, you would have had no way out. I felt a wave of nausea. The casual cruelty of it, the planning, this wasn't a desperate spur-of-the-moment idea. This was a conspiracy. And Marcus, I said, my voice barely a whisper. He found this place. He arranged this. He did more than arrange it, sir. Adrian's face was grim. He swiped to the final document. It was a scanned contract, a simple one-page agreement. It was not a medical document. It was a finder fee agreement. My eyes found the key clause. Adrian read it aloud anyway, his voice ringing with cold fury. Upon the successful admission and subsequent asset assessment of the client, Elias Grant, a one-time referral bonus of $90,000 will be dispersed to the referring party, Mr. Marcus Langley. This payment is contingent upon the successful liquidation of the client's primary residence located at 9920 North Elm Avenue, Denver, Colorado. $90,000. That was the price he had sold me for. $90,000 and the scraps of my bungalow. He had conspired with these ghouls to have me drugged and imprisoned, all for a kickback. I stood up from the marble table. I walked to the floor-to-ceiling windows. The city was so beautiful from up here. Lake Erie stretched out like a sheet of dark, calm glass. I remembered Sophia as a little girl. I remembered teaching her how to ride her bike on that very street, 9920 North Elm Avenue. I remembered her scraped knees. I remembered her little hands holding my big grease-stained ones, trusting me completely. I remembered walking her down the aisle, handing that same trusting hand over to Marcus Langley. I remembered the pride in her eyes. Was it pride in me or pride in the man she was marrying? I saw now that it was pride in the plan and the con. My Lydia was lucky she died before she had to see this. Before she had to see what our daughter had become, what she had allowed. The anger I felt wasn't hot. It didn't burn. It was a cold, hard, heavy thing. It settled deep in my chest. The kind of cold that freezes water solid. The kind of cold that builds empires. The frail old mechanic from the West End. The man who had been playing a part for 45 years. He died in that moment. And the man who had bought that first garage in 1988. The man who saw what no one else saw. The man who built $38 million from nothing. He was back, and he was furious. I turned away from the window. My face was calm. My hands were steady. Adrian, I said. My voice was quiet, but the anger made it heavy. Sir, they got sloppy. Marcus is a gambler. He thinks he's smart, but he's just a desperate kid. He made a mistake. A big one. The power of attorney, sir. No, I said bigger. He let someone else see the cards. That flight attendant, Maya. Adrian's expression sharpened. I've already begun a search for her, sir. Discreetly. Good. But this is not a discreet matter anymore. Marcus is desperate. He knows she heard something. He saw her face when she looked at him. He saw her warn me, even if he can't prove how. He's a cornered animal, Adrian, and he will see her as a loose end, a threat he needs to manage. I walked back to the table, my mind clear for the first time since that morning. We need to find her before he does. He's not just a con man anymore. He's not just a thief. He's a man who is willing to have me drugged and imprisoned to pay a $450,000 gambling debt. Silencing one flight attendant is nothing to him. I looked Adrian in the eye. Find her. I don't care what it costs. Double her salary. Triple it. Tell her I want to thank her personally for saving my life. Tell her I want to offer her a new job running the security for my new foundation. A new foundation, sort of the Lydia Grant Foundation for the Protection of the Elderly, I said. I just decided now, find Maya. She's not just a witness anymore. She's our first client. I paused, letting the weight of the next thought settle. And tell her I need to know everything, every single word she heard, every inflection in his voice, because we are going to build a cage for my son-in-law, a cage made of his own greed, and Maya just gave us the bars. Adrian's team was fast. It took them less than 5 hours. He called me in the penthouse. We found her Mr. Grant. Maya. I felt a rush of relief followed immediately by a spike of fear, not for me, but for her. Is she safe? For now, Adrian said. His voice was grim. She wasn't easy to locate. She'd already requested an immediate route change, cited a family emergency. She was trying to disappear. My operative found her at her sister's apartment in Riverside District. She was scared, sir. Very scared. He said she was about to go to her airline union representative, but she was afraid they'd just call her paranoid. Afraid they wouldn't believe her. I nodded. Of course they wouldn't. Who would believe a story like that? A wealthy family drugging their old father to steal his money. It sounds like a bad movie. Did she say why she was so frightened? I asked. She told my operative that Mr. Langley Marcus had recognized her, that he looked at her differently after the incident at the plane door. She's been looking over her shoulder for 3 days. She was convinced he was going to find out where she lived. She said he had a look in his eye that she'd never seen before, a look of pure animal panic. This confirmed it. Marcus wasn't just a white-collar thief, he was a cornered rat. And cornered rats bite hard. Where is she now, Adrian? She's in a secure location. We promised her full protection. She has agreed to meet you. She's terrified, sir. She thinks she's mixed up in something way over her head. I let out a long breath. She is, I said. And so am I. I thought about the risk that young woman had taken for a stranger, for an old man in a wheelchair she'd never met. She had seen something wrong, and she had acted. She had shown more courage and more character in that 45-second whisper than my own daughter had shown in 12 years. Set up the meeting, I ordered a public place somewhere she can see the exits. She needs to feel safe. And Adrian makes sure she is not followed. I don't want Marcus or that private investigator of his, Jake, anywhere near her. We met 2 hours later at a small, old-fashioned diner in Highland Park. The kind of place with vinyl booze along for mica countertop and coffee that's been brewing for hours. It was public but anonymous. My security team was already in place. 2 men in the booth behind me, another at the counter, all looking like they were just reading the paper. I arrived first. I was in my old mechanic clothes, my worn jeans, my flannel shirt. I needed her to see the man she had saved, not the man from the penthouse. She slid into the booth opposite me. She was young, maybe 28. She wore a hoodie pulled up over her hair, and her eyes darted to the door every time the bell rang. She was twisting a paper napkin in her hands, shredding it into tiny pieces. Maya, I said, my voice gentle. My name is Elias Grant. Thank you for coming. She jumped at the sound of my voice. Sir Mr. Grant, I don't want any trouble. I couldn't. My own grandmother. She was in one of those places. They told us it was for her own good. They took her house. She died 7 months later. It was awful. When I heard him on the phone, it sounded just like that. My heart ached for her. This wasn't a random act of kindness. This was personal. You did more than not let it happen, I said, leaning forward. You saved my life. I've already spoken to my financial manager. I have set up a trust fund for you. Consider it an early retirement or a new start, whatever you want. Maya's eyes filled with tears. Sir, I didn't do it for money. I know, I said. That's why you deserve it. But right now, Maya, I need something more valuable than money. I need the truth. I need you to tell me exactly what you heard on that plane. Every single word. Don't leave anything out, she nodded, taking a shaky breath. She took a sip of the water I had ordered for her. I was working the first-class cabin before general boarding. She began, her voice low. The gate agent told me we had a last-second wheelchair passenger, so I was in the front galley preparing the aisle seat for you. I thought the cabin was empty, but your son-in-law Marcus was already there. He was sitting in 2A by the window. He was on his cell phone, his back to me. He was already in first class while he was shipping me off to my death in a coach seat. The arrogance of it. He was whispering. Maya continued, but he was angry. I could hear the edge in his voice. I heard him say, No, it's all handled. The old man is on the wheelchair. He's already confused. We'll be at Midway in 15 minutes. She paused, remembering. He listened for a second, then he said, Look, just have your people in Nevada ready. As soon as he's admitted to Golden Horizons, your lawyers can start liquidating the house. I don't care about the market. I want it sold fast. My hands resting on the table clenched into fists. Liquidating the house. My house. Lydia's house. The house I brought my daughter home to. And then Maya said, her voice dropping even lower. He said the part that made me stop. The part I couldn't ignore. He said, my $90,000 fee gets wired the moment he's inside. Right. Excellent. We're all on the same page. Then he said it out loud. He was so sure of himself, so arrogant, that he discussed his finder's fee for selling his father-in-law on an open phone line. That's when he turned. Maya said, her own hand shaking now. He saw me. He hadn't known I was there. His face, Mr. Grant, his face just dropped. It went from this smug, satisfied smirk to something cold. He snapped the phone shut so fast it made a clicking sound. He stood up, she continued. He asked me what I heard. I lied. I just said, oh, nothing, sir, just checking the cabin supplies. But he knew I was lying. He stared at me. He didn't believe me. That's when I knew I was in trouble. And that's when I knew you were in even more. I nodded slowly, processing, and that's when you warned me. On the jet bridge, Maya shook her head. The shredded napkin was a small pile of white confetti on the table. No, sir. That's just the first part. That's when I knew they were scamming you. I didn't know they were harming you. Not yet. My blood went cold again. What changed? I went back to the galley. A few minutes later, your daughter Sophia boarded. She walked right past you and Mr. Worcester Langley while he was checking his bags. She didn't say a word to either of you. She went straight to the first-class restroom. I was in the service area right outside getting water. She wasn't using the restroom. Maya set her eyes wide. She was just hiding. She was on her phone texting. She was leaning against the wall and I could see her screen. I wasn't trying to snoop. I swear it was just right there. Her screen was so bright. What did it say, Maya? She closed her eyes as if reciting the words burned her. She was texting her husband Marcus, the man standing just 10 feet away from her. And the text, Mr. Grant. The text said, Maya took a deep, shuddering breath. It said, Marcus, are you sure the sedative will last the whole flight? I don't want him waking up and making a scene over Reno. Make sure he drinks the whole bottle of water before takeoff. A sedative. My own daughter, my Sophia. I sat back hard against the vinyl booth. The sounds of the diner faded. The clatter of plates, the murmur of conversation, all of it just gone. All I could hear was that single word, sedative. They weren't just taking me to a home. They were drugging me to get me there. Maya was crying softly now. That's when I knew Mr. Grant. That's when I knew this wasn't just a scam. This was evil. I had to do something. So I waited until he was distracted, and I walked out onto the jet bridge, and I said what I said. I reached across the table and placed my hand over hers. Her skin was ice cold. Maya, I said, my voice thick, you're not safe. Not anymore. Adrian will handle everything. You are no longer an airline employee. As of this moment, you work for me. You will not go home. You will not go to your sister's. One of my men outside will take you to a private suite. You will be safe there until this is over. She nodded, too overwhelmed to speak. I left her there, and my security man, the one who looked like a college professor, slid into the booth as I left. I walked out of the diner into the bright, cold Denver afternoon, but I didn't feel the cold. All I felt was a vast, empty canyon inside me. They weren't just trying to steal from me. They weren't just trying to imprison me. They were willing to drug me, to make me helpless, to incapacitate me, all to get me onto that plane. I got into the back of my car. I picked up the secure phone. Adrian, I said, they planned to drug me. We need to look at this differently. This is no longer just financial fraud. This is kidnapping. This is assault. I agree, sir. Adrian's voice came back tight with anger, and I think I've just found the next piece of the puzzle. While my team was looking for Maya, they were also running that background check on Marcus's financials. I waited. It's an insurance policy, sir. A new one taken out 4 months ago. And the payout, Mr. Grant. The payout is $1.8 million. The Golden Horizon sign flickered, its neon G buzzing like an angry hornet. The room smelled of bleach, old cigarettes, and failure. Marcus was pacing his shirt soaked in sweat despite the rattling air conditioner. Sophia was sitting on the edge of the lumpy bed, her expensive designer handbag clutched in her lap like a life raft. She was crying. "You lied to me," she whispered, her voice raw. "You lied about everything." Marcus spun around. "Keep your voice down. You think they can't hear us through these paper-thin walls." "I don't care," she shrieked, standing up. "You told me it was a wellness community. You told me it was a nice place for him to retire, a place where he'd be safe." "It is safe," Marcus hissed. "It's a facility. It's a scam, Marcus. That's what Adrian Black said on the phone. Rapid asset liquidation. That's not care. That's theft." "You were going to sell his house. It was our house," Marcus roared, getting in her face. "It was supposed to be he owes us that after everything we've done for him." "What have we done for him?" Sophia's voice cracked. "My father has been paying for our lives. You told me those payments. You told me that was your bonus. You've been lying to me since the day we met." So what? Marcus shoved a chair out of his way. "It's his job to provide for his family. He's our father. He's my father. And you were going to drug him. Marcus, that flight attendant. She heard you talking about sedatives. You were going to drug my father. It was just a mild sleeping pill." Marcus yelled, his hands balled into fists. To keep him calm, he would have been confused on the plane. He would have been scared. "I was trying to make the transition easier for him." "Easier for him or easier for you?" Sophia finally screamed back. "You sold him, Marcus, for $90,000. You sold my father like he was a piece of furniture. It was $450,000. Marcus's confession exploded out of him, desperate and ugly. The gambling debt. Rocco was going to hurt us, Sophia. He was going to hurt you. I did this to protect us, to protect our future by destroying my father's. He's 75 years old. He's lived his life. Our life is just starting, and now it's over." Marcus collapsed onto the other bed, his head in his hands. "He's taken everything. The accounts are frozen. The cards are dead. That PI Jake, he just dropped us. He said the old man's name is flagged by some serious people. We're broke. We're done." Sophia looked at the peeling paint on the wall, her mind racing. She wasn't just scared, she was thinking. "No," she said, her voice suddenly cold. "We're not done. You're right. He's my father. He loves me. You scared him. We find him. We apologize. We gravel. We tell him it was all a misunderstanding. We blame the flight attendant. We blame the bank. We get him back." Marcus looked up, a flicker of hope in his desperate eyes. You think he'll believe us after this?" "He has to," Sophia said, her own face hardening. "I'm his daughter." "He's just an old sentimental fool. He'll forgive me. He has to." Back in the penthouse, the city lights glittered below like a carpet of diamonds. They were beautiful, but they offered no warmth. I stood at the window, of the secure phone pressed to my ear. $1.8 million, I repeated. The words tasted like poison. "Yes, sir." Adrian's voice was tight with an anger he rarely showed. "That is not the worst of it, my team." While they were running the check on Marcus's financials and his connection to Golden Horizons, they cross-referenced his known aliases and the forged POA. This triggered an alert from one of our insurance partners insurance a new life insurance policy. "Sir, it was taken out 4 months ago." I let the number hang in the air. $1.8 million. I walked over to the bar and poured a glass of water. My hand was perfectly still. This was no longer just greed. This wasn't panic. This was a plan. The policy was taken out in your name, Adrian continued. The payments were being made from the Bait account, which is why you never saw them. The forgery on the signature, sir, it's the same one from the power of attorney, $1.8 million. They weren't just taking me to Nevada to rob me. They were taking me there to die. The sedative wasn't just for the flight. It was the beginning. It was the make him confused part, the make him frail part, the part that made it easy for him to accidentally fall or to be over-medicated by the compassionate staff at Golden Horizons. It all made sense now. The rush, the desperation, the $45,000 theft was just seed money. The house was the down payment, the $1.8 million policy that was the real prize. This was a murder plot. My son-in-law and my daughter were planning to kill me. I need to see it, I said. Adrian put the tablet on the table. There it was. My name, Elias Grant. My address, my social security number, which they must have gotten from my files in the bungalow, and a signature, my signature. And I remembered. I was in the bungalow sitting in my recliner. It was 3, maybe 4 months ago, a Saturday. The Broncos game was on. Marcus had come in all smiles holding a small stack of papers. Hey, Dad, he said. He always called me Dad. It always made my skin crawl. What's that, Marcus? I asked, my eyes on the game. Oh, it's just the DMV sent me this. It's a renewal for my license plate, but since your name is also on the car's registration, they need your signature too. You know how the state is, bureaucracy. I'd co-signed the lease on his Mercedes. He told me his credit was in flux from a job change. Another lie. I'd done it to help him to help Sophia. Where do I sign? I asked, annoyed at the interruption. Just here, he said, holding the paper out on a clipboard. He had a pen ready. And here. I looked down. It looked official. It had the Colorado State logo on it. It looked like a standard DMV form. I was focused on the game. The Broncos were on the 15-yard line. Hurry up, son. They're about to score. Right here, Dad, he pointed. I grabbed the pen and scribbled my name. Elias Grant. I didn't read the fine print. Why would I? It was just a DMV form. Thanks, Dad. You're a lifesaver, Si, he said, snatching the clipboard back almost too quickly. I'll get this mailed right out. Yeah, I muttered, turning back to the TV. He had been holding another paper underneath the insurance application. He had just needed my signature, a clean, wet ink signature that he could then scan and use for anything. The POA, the insurance policy. He had played me. He had used my trust, my distraction, and my love for football to sign my own death warrant. And I had let him. The memory faded. I was back in the penthouse. The glittering lights of the city felt like they were mocking me. A DMV form. I said, my voice thick with self-loathing. He tricked me with a fake DMV form. It was a sophisticated forgery, sir, Adrian said. The logo, the letterhead. They were perfect. He must have spent some of your stolen money to have it fabricated. I looked at the insurance policy on the screen. $1.8 million. And the beneficiary, I asked. My voice was hollow. I knew the answer. Sophia. Adrian zoomed in on the beneficiary section. Yes, sir. Sophia Grace Langley, your daughter. She is listed as the primary beneficiary. My heart twisted. She was in on it from the beginning. The sedative, the insurance. She was waiting for me to die. My own child. However, Adrian said, his voice dropping. There is something else. Something Marcus probably didn't think we would find. He scrolled down. He also listed a contingent beneficiary. A secondary beneficiary who Adrian tapped the screen. The name appeared Marcus Langley. I stared at the screen. I didn't understand. Why would he list himself as secondary if Sophia gets the money? That's the question we asked, sir. Adrian said, why would he? Unless he never intended for the primary beneficiary to collect. It hit me. It hit me with the force of a physical blow. This wasn't a plan between a husband and wife. This was his plan. The complete plan. The full, horrifying, beautiful, and terrible plan. Step 1. Get a fraudulent POA. Steal seed money from the Bait account to pay for the operation. Step 2. Use that seed money to buy a high-value, short-term life insurance policy on me. Step 3. Trick me into signing the application. List Sophia as the primary beneficiary because that looks natural. A daughter inheriting from her father. No red flags. Step 4. List himself as the contingent. Step 5. Get me to Golden Horizons. Arrange my accidental death. Step 6. The insurance pays out $1.8 million to my grieving daughter, Sophia. Step 7. Marcus the grieving widower hour arranges a second accident one for Sophia, and as the contingent beneficiary, he walks away with $1.8 million, his gambling debts paid, and both of us in the ground. He wasn't just conning me. He was conning his own wife. He was conning my daughter. He was going to kill us both. That monster, I whispered. I wasn't angry anymore. I was impressed. The sheer cold-blooded audacity of it, the sociopathic brilliance. He had turned my daughter against me, using her as a tool, as a temporary bank account, as a pawn to be sacrificed. I looked at Adrian. He was already thinking what I was thinking. "This changes the game, sir," Adrian said. "Yes, it does," I replied. "Marcus thinks he's playing chess, but he's just a pawn. And now we have his queen," Sophia Adrian said. Sophia, I confirmed. She's a co-conspirator, but she's also his next victim, and she just doesn't know it yet. It's time we showed her. I picked up the secure phone. "Adrian, get me the number for that loan shark Rocco, the one Marcus owes $450,000 to." Adrian raised an eyebrow. "Sir Marcus is desperate for money," I said. "Let's give him exactly what he wants. We're going to set a new trap, and this time we're going to use the bait he loves most, Sophia." I looked at the $1.8 million policy on the screen, the contingent beneficiary, Marcus Langley. He was going to kill my daughter. He was going to kill us both. I felt the rage turn into something else, something colder, and sharper than a shard of ice. This was no longer a matter of justice. This was extermination. "Adrian," I said. My voice was perfectly calm. "Sir, this changes the game. Marcus thinks he's playing chess, but he's just a pawn, and now we have his queen." "Sophia," Adrian said, his eyes narrowing. "Sophia," I confirmed. "She's a co-conspirator. She was willing to drug me and ship me off to Nevada. She's guilty, but she's also his next victim, and she just doesn't know it yet." I walked back to the bar. I poured 2 fingers of the good bourbon, the stuff Lydia and I saved for anniversaries. This felt like an anniversary, the anniversary of my old life's death. Marcus is a gambler, Adrian. And gamblers have one weakness. They always believe in the next hand. They always believe in a bailout. Right now he's in a cheap motel room. He's broke. He's desperate. His private investigator just dropped him. His accounts are frozen. And he has a man named Rocco Bianchi breathing down his neck for $450,000. He is a cornered animal. What do you propose, sir? "We're not just going to trap him," I said. "We're going to let him trap himself. We're going to open the cage door and let the tiger in." I took a sip. The bourbon burned, but it was a clean, honest burn. "Get me the number for Rocco Bianchi. You are going to call him not as my lawyer, as my representative. You will tell him that Elias Grant wishes to settle his son-in-law's debt." Adrian raised an eyebrow. He never questioned me, but this was close. "Sir, you intend to pay $450,000 to a loan shark. I intend to offer to pay it. There's a very big difference." I set the glass down. The ice didn't even clink. "Here's the offer. $450,000 in cash in a briefcase tomorrow in exchange for 2 things, which are: 1, the debt is cleared. Marcus Langley is free. 2, I want a meeting. I want Marcus. I want Sophia, and I want Rocco all in the same room. I want Marcus to see his savior and his executioner at the very same table." Adrian allowed himself a small, thin smile. "He will take the deal, sir. Rocco Bianchi respects only one thing: money. The fact that you know about him and that you have the cash will put the fear of God into him. He'll think you're a rival." "Good," I said. "I don't want him afraid of God. I want him afraid of me. Make the call." "I want this set for tomorrow. 1 p.m. The buzzing of the burner phone on the motel nightstand sounded like a fire alarm. Marcus and Sophia both jumped. "Is that him?" Sophia whispered, her eyes wide with fear. "Is that Rocco?" Marcus grabbed the phone. The same blocked number. His hand was shaking. He wiped his sweaty palm on his pants and answered, trying to sound casual. "Rocco, listen. I just need more time. I swear I'm working on it. A cold, growly laugh cut him off. Shut up, Marcus. You're not going to believe this. You are one lucky. Well, you're just lucky. Marcus frowned. He sat up on the lumpy bed. What? What are you talking about? I just got a call, Rocco said, and Marcus could hear the strange mix of amusement and suspicion in his voice. From a guy, a real professional name of Adrian Black. He says he represents your father-in-law. Marcus felt the blood drain from his face. Elias, what about him? He wants to pay your debt, kid. All of it. $450,000 in cash. Marcus sank back onto the bed. He couldn't breathe. What he wants to pay? How did he know? I don't know, and I don't care, Rocco said. But here's the part I don't get. He says he wants a meeting tomorrow at his lawyer's office. He wants you there. He wants the wife there. And he wants me there. He says he's bringing the cash in a briefcase. He wants to settle all family accounts. Marcus's mind was spinning. The old man, the broke mechanic. How did he know about Rocco? How did he have $450,000 in cash, Marcus? Sophia whispered, seeing the look on his face. What is it? I don't know, Marcus stammered. Rocco, my debt. My father-in-law is going to pay it. Rocco's voice crackled back on the line. So here's the deal, kid. I don't know what game this old man is playing. I don't know if he's a cop or a fed or some kind of hidden whale. I don't care. $450,000 is $450,000. You and the wife, you're coming with me tomorrow, 1 p.m. If this is a trap, you're the bait. If it's real, you get to live. You understand me? Yes, Marcus said, his voice a whisper. Yes, Rocco, we'll be there. We'll be there. He hung up the phone. He's paying. Marcus said, a slow, disbelieving smile spreading across his face. The old fool is paying. But how, Sophia asked, grabbing his arm. How does he have that money and whacker drive Marcus? What is going on? Marcus's confidence was surging back, replacing the cold fear. His gambler's mind was piecing together a new narrative, a new hand to play one where he was the one holding all the aces. Who cares? Marcus laughed. He actually laughed. Don't you see, it's exactly what I told you. He's just a sentimental old fool. He ran. He got scared. He thought about it. And now he wants his family back. He wants to buy us back. He's scared of us. Scared? Yes. He's terrified. He's alone. He's old. He's freezing the accounts to get our attention. And now he's offering to pay Rocco to make his problem go away. He thinks I'm the problem. He doesn't realize he's the solution. As if on cue, an email notification pinged on Sophia's laptop. She opened it. It was from Adrian Black, Senior Counsel, the Black Group. The subject line was simple. Family meeting, Grant Estate. Look, Marcus said, pointing at the screen. It's him, the lawyer. The email was formal, cold, and official. Dear Mr. and Mrs. Langley, at the request of our client, Mr. Elias Grant, you are formally invited to a family meeting to discuss and resolve all pending financial and personal matters. The meeting will be held tomorrow, October 12th at 1:00 p.m. at our offices. It gave an address on Lakeshore Drive, one of the tallest, most expensive buildings in Denver. My God, Sophia whispered, this is real. Of course it's real, Marcus said, pacing again, but this time with a swagger. And it's even better than I thought. He's not broke. He's been lying to us. The old man, he's been sitting on a pile of money his whole life, that bungalow. It's just a front. He's been pretending to be poor, that snake. His anger flared for a second, then vanished, replaced by a greedy smirk. This is perfect, he said. This isn't about $450,000. This isn't about a house. He's loaded. That's why he has a fancy lawyer. That's why he can snap his fingers and freeze accounts. But Marcus Sophia said, her voice shaking. If he's so rich and powerful, why would he want to pay your debt? Why would he meet with us? He has us beat. He knows we lied. Marcus stopped and looked at her, his eyes gleaming. Because, my dear, I still have one card he can't beat. One card he is terrified of. He walked over to his briefcase, the one sitting by the door, and clicked it open. He pulled out the document, the forged power of attorney. It doesn't matter, he shrieked, waving the paper in the air. It doesn't matter what he says. I have this. This is legal. This document gives me control of everything. His $38 million, his house, his accounts. I am in charge, not him. He slammed the paper down on the table in front of Adrian. Read it and weep, you glorified butler. I own him. Adrian looked at the paper. He looked at Marcus. He looked at me. I just smiled. Adrian picked up the forged POA. He didn't read it. He just slowly ripped it in half and then in half again. Marcus's face was a masterpiece of confusion. What are you doing? That's a legal document. No, son, I said. That's a piece of paper. It's a very good forgery. I'll give you that, but it's worthless. Adrian reached into his own pristine briefcase and pulled out a single thick file. He opened it. This, Mr. Langley, Adrian said, his voice dripping with ice, is the actual controlling document for the Grant Trust. It was executed 12 years ago after Mrs. Grant passed. It's ironclad. He turned the document around for Marcus to see. And as you can see, the sole trustee and executive of the $38 million is not you. It's not Sophia, it's me. I leaned back in my chair. You were never in control, Marcus, I said. You were just a mouse running around in a maze I built 45 years ago, and you just hit the last wall. Adrian didn't even look at the torn paper. He simply brushed the pieces aside. Your document is a forgery. My authority is a legal trust executed 12 years ago, naming me as the sole trustee of all $38 million. You were never in control, Marcus. You were just a mouse running around in a maze I built. And you just hit the last wall. Marcus's eyes were wild. He looked from me to Adrian and then finally to the door. He was going to run. I saw the calculation in his eyes. He was going to bolt. Rocco! He suddenly yelled, looking at the lone shark who had been silent this entire time. Rocco, he's lying. He's trying to screw us both. Don't let him do this. He never finished the sentence. The heavy mahogany doors of the conference room swished open again. Marcus looked relieved for a split second. He must have thought it was security, or maybe even the police. He would have preferred the police. It wasn't the police. It was the two massive bodyguards who had been standing outside Rocco's office, the ones Rocco had left behind. They stepped into the room, filling the doorway. They weren't wearing suits. They were wearing heavy work clothes. They looked like the kind of men who worked on the docks, the kind of men who could make a $450,000 problem disappear. Rocco Bianchi stood up slowly from his chair by the door. He adjusted his silk tie. He looked at me, then at Marcus. Well, Mr. Grant, Rocco said, his voice like gravel. This has been educational. I appreciate you inviting me, but this is a private family matter. We'll show ourselves out. Marcus scrambled to his feet. Rocco, wait. You're just going to leave. What about the money he promised to pay you? I stood up too. I walked slowly around the table until I was standing right in front of Marcus. He flinched, but I just looked at him. I did promise, Marcus, I said. I promised I would pay your debt, and I am a man of my word. Marcus's face flooded with a pathetic, desperate relief. You are Dad Elias. I'm sorry. I knew you would. I knew you wouldn't let him. I cut him off. I am going to pay your $450,000 debt. I turned to Rocco Bianchi, and I am going to pay it with this. Here is your package. I gestured not to a briefcase full of money, but to Marcus. Rocco Bianchi stared at me for a long second. Then he did something I didn't expect. He smiled a genuine shark-like smile of appreciation. He had just understood the transaction. Mr. Grant, Rocco said, extending a hand. It's been a pleasure doing business with you. No. Rocco. Marcus whimpered, backing away. What does that mean, Dad? What did you do? The two large men moved. They didn't rush. They just moved. One on each side of Marcus. Rocco, no. He promised cash. Marcus shrieked. He did, Rocco said, walking toward the door. But this is better. You see, kid cash is just paper but collateral. Collateral can work. And you, Marcus, you are going to work. No. Marcus screamed as the men grabbed his arms. He was a white-collar con man. He was soft. They lifted him like he was a child. Sophia, he shrieked. Sophia, help me, Dad, please. I'll do anything. I'll give it back. You don't have anything to give back, son, I said as they began to drag him out of the room. Rocco paused at the door. He turned to me. My men will be escorting Mr. Langley to one of my logistics warehouses down by the river. He's going to be auditing shipping manifests indefinitely until his debt is paid with interest. We appreciate the business, Mr. Grant. We'll be in touch. The doors closed. Marcus's screams echoed down the hall, getting fainter and fainter until they were finally cut off by the chime of the elevator. The room was silent again. There were only 3 of us left, me, Adrian, and Sophia. She was slumped in her chair. She hadn't moved. She hadn't tried to help him. She had just watched as her husband, the man she had conspired with, was dragged away by gangsters. She looked up at me. Her face was empty, devoid of tears, of anger, of anything. Just empty. Is it over? She whispered. No, I said. It's not. Adrian stepped forward. He placed 2 documents on the table in front of her. This, Adrian said, his voice formal, is a legal notification. Your father has formally disinherited you. You've been removed from the Grant Trust effective immediately. Sophia stared at the paper. She didn't seem surprised. She just nodded. And this, Adrian continued, placing the second document on top of the first, is a permanent court-ordered restraining order. You are to remain no closer than 500 feet to Mr. Grant, his residence, or his place of business for the rest of your life. This, she felt her head snapped up. A restraining order. Dad, but I'm your daughter. No, I said, walking to the door. You were. Today you are just the primary beneficiary on a $1.8 million insurance policy, and I don't like those kinds of odds. I walked out of the conference room. I didn't look back. Adrian followed me. We walked through the silent, expensive lobby. The receptionist smiled at us. We took the private elevator down 45 floors. The smooth descent felt like a weight lifting off my shoulders. The lobby doors opened onto the bright, windy Denver street, and there, waiting at the curb, was Maya, the flight attendant. She wasn't standing next to a black sedan. She was standing next to a deep blue, brand-new Rolls-Royce Phantom. My car, the one I kept in the garage for special occasions. She smiled a real warm smile. She wasn't wearing her flight attendant uniform. She was wearing a sharp professional suit. Good afternoon, Mr. Grant, she said. She opened the heavy rear door for me. Adrian called ahead. He said the meeting was successful. I paused before getting in. I looked up at the blue sky. I felt the wind on my face. I felt light. I reached into my suit pocket and pulled out a pair of sunglasses. Dark classic. I put them on. The world looked sharper. Are you ready, Mr. Grant, Maya asked. The board for the new Lydia Grant Foundation is waiting for its chairman. I smiled. A real smile. The first one in years. I've been ready for a long time, Maya, I said. Let's go. This story teaches us a powerful lesson. Never mistake kindness for weakness or a simple life for a simple mind. Elias built his quiet life as a shield, but his children, blinded by greed, saw it only as a target. They forgot that true power is not about the money you show, but the intelligence and character you hide. They planned to steal his possessions, but in the end, they only lost their family, their freedom, and their future. It proves that betrayal is a debt that always gets paid in full. What did you think of Elias's cold, calculated revenge? And which city are you listening from? Let us know in the comments below if you like this story and want to hear more.